Hi, Tokyo Tops!
Hi, Tokyo Hoes.
And today we have Don with us today. Yay! You might recognize him from the recent Gaycation video that we took.
Morning.
We have Don here today because we wanted to talk about confidence.
Yes.
And confidence both within the sphere of the gay community and Japan, but also a little bit more in a general sense as well.
We, as gays, always have like the late start in life, right? Everyone has their coming out story. Not before their coming out story, they don't even know about themselves. So we always kind of look towards like whatever's available. Unfortunately, it's like a lot of straight imagery. Yeah.
And everyone's telling you, you know, you shouldn't be, you're too girly, or you're doing ABCD. It's like bam, 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 right? And then all of a sudden, we're adults with low confidence.
Right.
Don's lived in a number of cities here for a number of years. What, 10 years?
Yes, 10 years. Okay, so break it down. I lived in Tochigi. I lived in Yokohama. I lived in Sapporo for training. I lived in Nagoya.
Jeez.
And then just 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, I moved to Tokyo proper. If we're talking about like being a part of the community, I think that the best place is Tokyo, just because there's so many different microcosms and different groups that people just kind of, you know, surround themselves in. Maybe on the other spectrum for places that just have not advanced in that way. For example, when I was living in Nagoya, like that was one of the toughest challenges, trying to find my own spot that I like belong to. Okay, I actually have to do some research, like what is here, what's not here, who goes to this bar, do they allow foreigners inside me? That's a completely different thing. But
even for bars, they have like those restrictions, like only Japanese and foreigners.
you know what it is.
But they have that here in Nichome as well.
Yeah.
Don't have it.
They do. It's,
Some do.
They for sure do.
Some
it's just
do.
that for you, probably you can sneak in a little bit more easily than Don and me. You can pass.
Yeah.
For me, I've fully been rejected from bars, and I
I
had to
thought
bring
it's like Hatemba, yes, because they have like very restricted.
It's
like,
similar.
spots, but
You want to talk about Hatemba? When I was living in Nagoya, I had a sign, and I think I posted it on like Twitter or something like that, but it said Japanese only. And so I was like, okay, let me try them. And when I say try them, let me see what they actually mean.
Yeah.
I go inside and literally like walking up the stairs, and then they saw me from the counter, and it's probably about 50 meters from the actual entrance to the counter, and they just went, like,
they did this.
yeah. And I was like, oh wow. And Nagoya is like one of those places where I was like, okay, like things like that where you're not welcome, places where I lived near Tokyo up until that point, and then go to Nagoya, and then you have to tone yourself down, and literally try to, like say, walk on eggshells, because you don't know whether or not, you know, people are going to take you as you are. Making friends and things like that was just very difficult because everyone already had their groups. I guess what I did was just make myself more known, talk to the bartenders. That was like one of the most important things. It's like not scared, but as much I was thinking, okay, how do I connect with this bartender? The bartenders are like, the best thing was, I guess, what do you call it? Tame. Like people who are the same age as you, that's one of the best tools that I learned to be able to really connect in a place that you don't know well. And so I got added to this line group with like 100 guys who were, at the time I was 26, 7. Yeah, and everyone was at the same year. Everyone's birthday was on the
They
same
have
day.
those kind of like circle, right? Like
Yes.
for Heisei Nannen,
Yes.
like, or something.
Yes, yes. So,
a gay one though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
A lot.
That's all I wanted to see.
Show up.
Right. You're like, hey,
Yeah,
say.
show
I'm like, hey, no. Nope.
What do you think are the main, are common things you've found Japanese gay guys struggling with regards to confidence?
Oh my gosh. It goes back to what I was saying, like literally if no one tells you that you're attractive, then it definitely hits that point. And you guys have met many Japanese people, men and women. You know, a lot of people love when someone can point out, oh, you cut your hair today, or oh, you have a new lipstick on, or something like that. And it's probably a lot of thought from the person who actually did it and was hoping that someone would notice it.
Yeah.
So when you now have not just the straight world, but the whole world mixed up together, the gay community, and then on top of that, everyone has their preferences, and then not within their own preferences, you have who you want to actually notice you, not like
Yeah.
just anyone.
Yeah.
It's so like filtered down to a point where if it's not the right person, then you will never think that you're attractive at all to anyone.
I would agree. It's less likely for that Japanese person to voice that.
Yeah.
Because they're, in general,
It's
tend
just
not to
not
voice
their
that. It's just not their culture.
Right.
Well, coming from like another Asian culture, you know, in China, we also don't give compliments to other people. Like the first time I went to America, and my host mom was so mad at me because she was like, you know, I'm actually wearing those gorgeous clothes and the expensive shoes. You never gave me any compliments.
Was she a housewife?
No,
Did she know you were gay?
Yeah.
no,
She's like, you should know these shoes.
You of all people.
You of all people.
A very common thing in America, in North America, first thing is you have to learn, give people compliments.
Yes.
It's like manner.
Yes.
But I didn't know that. I thought it was so weird that why would people do that?
Oh my god, I love your skirt. Where did you get it?
It was my mom's in the 80s.
Vintage. So adorable.
Thanks.
That is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen.
Does it mean that in China, everyone has lower self-confidence because no one's complimenting each other? No one's saying any of these positive things to help lift people up. Like, what's the result in China with no one talking about this? Like, what do you think?
I thought we were talking about Japan, but
Well, no, I know, no. But for you growing up,
For even maybe you have cousins or family members that still live
my
at
family
home.
never gave me any compliments. My parents, I mean, my mom is never like harsh to me, but like she will point out like those things like, oh, you're too short. You need to be taller, and yeah, you need to eat more. So she will point out what I'm lacking instead of giving me confirmation for what I already have.
Right.
So I'm not sure how Japan works.
I think Japan is probably similar.
They're similar, but maybe girls, because we do hear like, oh, kore kawaii.
Kawaii.
In Japan, I feel like amongst straight guys, they do say it, but they don't suspect each other like as gay to do so. Kakui,
Agreed.
A straight guy wants another straight guy's body because they're jealous that they're naturally not developing into that thing. That's cool, but within the gay spectrum, if it's just your friend telling you that and not someone who you might romantically be into because they're afraid of they give a compliment, it may seem like you're into them. But there are plenty of people who are like, yes, I only want a slender type person. And you lose your confidence when you actually think, oh, well, this person's actually my type. Let me just be natural about it. Maybe I won't come on, too strong. I just want to let them know that I'm there, and they ignore you. Then that's a confidence. Like, they have to do nothing. If they don't acknowledge your existence, you just crush. You're crushed.
I'm ignored all the time. What do I do?
Right.
What do I do?
I'm the kind of person who has a chaotic personality, and I will persist until I get a response back. And
Interesting.
Then I will scrape at that response. The response might say, arigato. And I was like, oh, you're welcome. And by the way, what is your name?
But I think for me, I tried that method before. I was like, keep bugging that person until I get an answer. But recently, I feel the art of being unbothered fits me more. Because I was like, you know what? I deserve better. I don't have to waste my time on you. Thank you, next.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe there is some...
I mean, yeah, that's a great way to think about it. Taking the high ground, that can save your sanity. Taking the high ground.
Oh, okay.
You take the high ground. You're like, oh, well, they don't message me. Okay, I'll just block them myself.
I don't block them. I just like move on.
Shit, show me your blacklist. You have a health bar of confidence.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to keep taking little off of trying to focus on one person, you can just forget about that person, and maybe they'll come around to it. Maybe they'll get fat and they'll get desperate and come after in the year. That has happened so many times,
I definitely agree with the health bar theory, because sometimes when I'm so exhausted by being ignored or being not receiving any response, I even delete the app for a while, and after like 1 or 2 weeks I will reinstall it. Like just after being rejected over and over again, like during like a very short period of time, it can be overloaded sometimes.
For sure. If people tell you and you recognize it and you show off that you are physically attractive, you can go on these applications endlessly and know that once you log on, once you've had that little green button online now, people are going to message you, versus someone who maybe not gets so much of that attention, and they're just trying to let themselves know that, they can still interact without having anxiety. They can approach someone who maybe they think out of your league. I really hate that phrase, but people who you think that you wouldn't regularly, zhuzh with, you can talk to someone and they can give you a little bit of confidence just by saying thank you.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. That's what I would say that most people would want to use it for. And if you can take it outside of that, if you show your authentic self so much that you can get a date, like it's almost like it like fills you up completely.
I feel like what you're trying to say here is like, for me, when I use applications, I'm more likely to hit on people more online than if I was in person.
For sure.
Right?
You're a liar.
No.
No.
Then
He's
you
a
don't
person.
know.
No, he's a person can go to a guy and just saying like you're so beautiful in the hospital.
Let me tell you a story. There was this beach party that was happening like annually, but there was this one kid. He wasn't built at all. He was a little meaty, slightly tall, but his looks had not matured yet. And I was like, oh, he's just a really cool person. You may find something, you know, how, guys want to go for younger and things like that. But he never found anyone at that party itself. I went to the same party again the next year, didn't find anyone that was there. Then I didn't see him for a while, and then I saw him randomly at a party when I was living in Nagoya in Osaka, and he bulked up so much. You know how people are just like, okay, I'm gonna change it now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bulk up and go to the gym and get so musclier. And he cut his hair and everything like that, and he looked better than he did at the beach, but he still had the same issues. And so he was very much like, I'm at this party, I bulked up, and people are still not paying attention to me. That was the same night where I was like, look, we're gonna find you somebody. He's like, oh, stop playing. And then I found this, I was like, well, who do you think looks good to you in this room? And he pointed this guy out. And I was just like, hold on a second. I went around the corner, so I think I maybe have saw us like talking, and I tapped him on the shoulder and I said, my friend over there wants to speak to you. The guy was like, oh, I kind of noticed him before, but he didn't seem like he was actually looking around or anything like that. And I was like, well, let me introduce you to him. I introduced them together. He was so embarrassed, but once the guy actually showed him some interest, they ended up having a lovely night. And I left them to their duties and I messaged him. He was like, yeah, we hooked up. But I would have never thought to just go and talk to someone else. And I was like, what did he tell you? Like, how did he like bulk you up? He's like, he loved my body. And I was like, well, look, if you had never just kind of shown yourself out there, and he would have never noticed you and never would have given you the confidence, and look what you did.
You were laughing a second ago. Do you remember why?
When I mentioned my friend had a transformation.
Yeah, and got buff and then got the guy, and you were like, oh, you're going to say
think
something.
that's Andrew.
That's
That's Andrew what I wanted to do recently.
Oh yeah, for
So,
me,
like,
yeah.
Oh, really?
So for me, I'm like, if I go to the gym more and I start working on my body more, will something change? But hearing your story, that's half the struggle.
Right. What does Michelle Visage say?
Stop relying on that body.
So that's exactly where I'm at now, where I've gotten to a more generally accepting body type at the moment, and I'm still struggling. So I'm like, okay, I need to push it more and go
He's
to get
going
bulkier.
to the gym 5 times a week these days.
Is
But-
this for your mental sanity?
That's a byproduct.
Okay,
That's a byproduct.
But what is the main product?
He wants to
Sexier
look
body.
hot.
I
You
want to
wanna
have a
look
sexier
hot.
body.
So you don't think you look hot right now?
I think I could look hotter.
What do you think you need to look hot? What will put you on par? What will make you a benchmark?
More muscle.
More muscle, and more muscle is going to do what for you?
More muscle is going to give me more attention from boys who have muscle.
What is your true point? You just want muscles to look and feel if you're gonna hook up with them? If you're literally like, I wanna look good in this shirt for myself, that's why I wanna get a muscle, I would say, more power to you.
Yeah.
But if you're just like, I want a muscle boyfriend, it's like, what will that muscle boyfriend actually mean for you if you actually made him his boyfriend? And if you're just like, I just wanna make the optimal me before we get older and it's harder for us to do so, I would say that's a reason. And the byproduct would be someone seeing how you've worked hard on yourself. Yes, and then they would be like, well, he goes to the gym. I also have the same mindset.
Yeah.
And that means that he must be a very focused person.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Don.
Anything to
Definitely
help
very
you guys?
insightful ideas.
I'm really looking forward to hearing what people think in the comments and stuff like that, because this is obviously
I would also like
Yeah.
to do that too.
and Don's always in our comments
I'll be
in the
in the
video.
comments sometimes, I'll be
So he'll
peeking.
jump in, I'm sure.
I'll be rolling.
We'll see you next
See you
time.
next time. Bye
Bye.